Yes, people, welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, friends. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, of course, the twice daily series here on the channel where I talk about what's happening in the news, the headlines, the rumours, the speculation, the hot topics of Chelsea Football Club. And we are back. Yes, this setup has returned. No, my MacBook, Mac Pro rig, still broken. I really hate that. If you follow me on social media, you can, follow the saga at Football Yannick on both Instagram and indeed Threads now. So do check me out there. Yes, so I'm using my gaming rig. I've tried to emulate as much as I can and install the relevant software and convert a lot of stuff, and it's not all been perfect, but it'll do for now. I always want to deliver the best quality I can to you, my subscribers and viewers. So welcome back to Chelsea News. We're discussing the shirt sponsor, the kit launch, and Romelu Lukaku with another bid coming in, and Juventus as well as Al Hilal being interested on top of the preferred transfer of Inter Milan for the Belgian striker. So there is a lot to get into, so I thank you for joining me. Do consider supporting the content by dropping a like, and you are, as always, welcome to subscribe. Hit the bell if you choose to subscribe. Alright then, let's talk about the kit launch. Off the bat, I got to talk about it. My childhood heart has been broken. when Chelsea on Threads originally, teased that first video of the Game Boy in 90s style, just let them play. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's Nintendo! It's Nintendo! It's a 90s retro kit in terms of color scheme." I don't think the kit particularly looks retro, but they've obviously gone back to that 90s style. And we're like, oh my god, we're going to get Nintendo. Loads of people were designing up concept kits. I reacted to it here on the channel. I was an exciting little boy. I've got a Zelda tattoo. Ocarina of Time changed my life. N64. Everyone on social media was like, if it's Nintendo, I'm buying all the gear. Surely you should see. I mean, granted, there's the small matter of actually agreeing a deal with Nintendo. And would Nintendo even be interested in sponsoring a sport team top? Not so sure. Nintendo's revenue is profound enough as it is, and I don't think they need more brand awareness. But should they be able to get over the line, that is a sponsor to see not just Chelsea fans buy. It could be marketing genius, because it wouldn't just be every Chelsea fan going, "All right, take my money." It would also be like nerds, like, Nintendo generation people. The collectibles they all absolutely love buying anything with a Nintendo on, so it would be a really intelligent move in terms of generating revenue through sales, kit sales and whatever. But alas, it doesn't seem like it's going to be the kit, because they've since released two other teasers, one of the Nokia phone playing Snake, again a video game, again retro because it's an old Nokia, it's a 90s thing, and then they've done one playing PlayStation. So they're all games, but I don't understand the games thing, but I'm guessing the games thing is like football's a game, watch them play, and it's all talking about like 90s retro stuff. So there is that. I think it's just because of the 90s kit. Like I said, the color scheme, I don't think the new kit's going to look retro, but the color scheme's an emulation of an old retro kit. So Chelsea are set to release said kit on Monday, the day after tomorrow at the time of recording, without a sponsor. And that actually would probably please a lot of people. A lot of people like kits without sponsors. Like, imagine if they didn't have a sponsor. Roma have just released a kit without their sponsor, I think, and it looks bellissimo, I must say. So yeah, it might do Chelsea good for initial shirt sales, but obviously they want to get a sponsor on that ASAP, and they will negotiate a sponsor as quick as they can before the league campaign starts. But they need a kit launch now. They need people buying kits, and yeah, it might actually suit them now. There hasn't got a sponsor on for now, and it won't have a shirt sleeve sponsor either. Of course, they were negotiating with Stake.com, a gambling company. I think gambling shirts or front of shirt sponsors are allowed for another 2 seasons and then they're banned. There was a big pushback from the Chelsea fans, and rightly and relatively commendably, the Chelsea ownership withdrew from that negotiation. Of course, Everton have Stake.com. It's a Premier League. It's in the Premier League, So Chelsea probably thought, it's a good option for a good deal. They would have offered the same amount that Free were offering, but we're not in the Champions League. So for a 1-year deal, that would have been actually quite a good revenue for them a stopgap until hopefully Chelsea get back into Europe. They'll renegotiate another deal with another long-term brand, and then everything's fine. But Chelsea were like, nah, we don't want it on us. Or Chelsea fans were like, not even for a season. We don't want this. We don't agree with it. So fair play. They withdraw and they're looking for a sponsor. Of course, were negotiating with Paramount Plus. It looked like they had the deal. The Premier League rejected it. Chelsea fans, and indeed football fans, are like, what? You'll allow booze, alcohol, and gambling front of shirt sponsors, but as soon as it comes to just a TV broadcaster that's not even in the UK, you've got problems. Conflict of broadcasting interest or whatever. It's nonsense, really. It sounds like a nonsense. But ultimately, it's in the rules, and it looks bad on Chelsea that we didn't know that. Even if it feels like a load of horse so-and-so, if it's in the rules, Chelsea just look like knobbers for not knowing it. Anyway, Monday is the launch of said kit. Without a sponsor, or a shirt or a sleeve sponsor. No, so people would like that maybe to buy the shirt should they like the final design and how it looks on players. Because when they do the kit launch, you'll see it on the players, and that's a massive part of the marketing campaign. Like, oh, if it looks good on the players, sweet, we'll buy it. We'll see what happens there. My Nintendo dream, I think, is done, and we will see probably something else. But, whatever. We move, ladies and gentlemen. In the meantime, of course, we spoke this morning about Pulisic going to Milan. Chelsea have generated a profound amount of revenue and player sales, crazy amounts, and they've alleviated themselves of some hefty wages to allow accommodate their new wage structure where they just spend less money on players and they give them incentivized bonus. You can have the money when you win the friggin' titles, you little slackers. Which I fully endorse and subscribe to, but at the same time find challenging for certain scenarios. Should we sign a high-profile striker, which Chelsea are apparently in for, we're going to have to give them big money, man, like, surely, and break that structure, and that might frustrate other players, but hey, goals cost money, and speaking of goals and costing money, Romelu Lukaku, Liam Toomey writes here, Chelsea reject Inter's approach for Romelu Lukaku. We want 45 million euros for Belgium striker. And I guess that's right now, so that isn't after a loan with an obligation. I'm assuming that's a straight buy, which, by the way, is 38.5 million pounds, which is crazy. I think our amortized value left on the books is still like a lot, man. I think it might be 55. Chelsea will, of course, make a catastrophic loss on Lukaku, despite him being in form at the end of the season at Inter. Chelsea have rejected Inter Milan's latest bid, so this is coming from Inter, and are seeking a fee of 45 million euro, which is 38.5 million pounds. Woo! Juventus and Saudi Arabian side Al Hilal are also interested in Lukaku, should Inter be unable to reach a desired fee. But what's Rom going to want here? Al Hilal, one of the 4 Saudi Pro League sides that are taken over by the country's public investment fund recently, have been pursuing a deal for Lukaku for weeks, but the Belgium international is still holding out for returns for Inter. Yes, the top 4 sides that have been juiced by the public investment fund in Saudi, they want high-profile players. They're looking at Bernardo Silva. They wanted Gundogan before Barcelona. Ziyech, Koulibaly. These are all like high-profile players, Mandy, and not that Ziyech is over the line yet, but they've got Neves, they've got Ronaldo, they've got N'Golo Kante, who's probably the highest profile in terms of not being like 36 years old or ever, still being 32 and still being N'Golo Kante. But Romelu Lukaku will be the similar. We will laugh and banter him for certain reasons, but he is still a Scudetto winner. He's still Belgium's all-time top goal scorer. He's still got an incredible strike rate over his career. And he's the captain for Belgium now, and he's still very, very high profile, and they'll care, he'll have a very highly rated FIFA card. Do you know what I mean? This is the kind of stuff they care about, the marketability. So they are one of the teams interested. They've been pursuing a deal for Lukaku for weeks, but the Belgium international is still holding out for a return for Inter. I wonder if Lukaku's completely written off the idea of Saudi in his head. And I wonder what he'd think about Juve, though Juve not in Champions League, and of course he'll be playing for an Inter rival. And he loves Milano. We know he does from a certain interview. Inter, though, are not close to reaching Chelsea's target of 45 million euros. So we paid them 98. Basically, so we'll say we paid them. Let's round up here for 500,000. So we paid them 98 million for Lukaku, and now they're offering us 39 million. So like nearly 60 million difference, and it's only been 2 years, and it's been underwhelming. The Italians received for Lukaku when they sold him the West. Yeah, that's what they got from us. The 30-year-old spent last season on loan following disappointing campaign initially from Chelsea, where he scored 15 goals in 44 matches in all comps, which is still like, you know, some goals. Essentially as well, let's just talk about this. So they've offered 45 million. They've offered less, but not. We want 45 million euros. If we get 45 million euros, I think we'd take that, right? Just to end it. 38 million quid. It's nonsense. It's bollocks. But at the end, considering the amount of money we spent on them, but you chalk it up to an error from the previous regime, and at least the new ownership can say, right, well, we didn't do this. You know? Of all the criticism that we've had, of all the heat that we've been catching, we didn't do this, and we're trying to clean up this mess. But he's going to be the highest earner. He's on 325k a week at Chelsea. The second highest is Raheem Sterling, who will stay and train under Pochettino and will be by far the highest earner that will be at Chelsea. Kante's gone, was on high wages. Havertz is gone, was on high wages. You know, even people like Pulisic and Ruben were on pretty high wages. They're gone. All these players, you know, they're on, you know, I think the highest earners will be, behind Sterling would probably be Kepa, and that would be like 120k a week less. And even Kepa, they would think that they're paying too much for, you know, their first team goalkeeper that they don't feel they need to be spending that much on. So it's really, really interesting, I think. It's just a case of getting rid of the toxicity. You don't want them coming back to the training ground. I know Mauricio Pochettino says, yes, he's due to report back. He'll come back and he'll come to me and he'll talk to me in my office. And this is what all players do. And I understand why he said that, because what else is he going to say? Oh, no, I hope he doesn't come back because we don't want him. He's not part of our plans. How is that going to put Chelsea in a strong negotiating position with Inter? If he says, yeah, he's our player, come back for pre-season, we'll see what's going on. You know, we don't need to sell him to Inter. Then they can pull their finger out and go, okay, well they're called, you know, I don't think they're bluffing. We need to make this happen. Just find the extra money, you know, or give them Lautaro. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course, we are still speaking about Lautaro Martinez. We are still speaking about other strikers. And Dusan Vlahovic of Juve. Now, he doesn't want to go to the Saudi League because he feels like he's got a few more years in him before he chases that bag, which is probably fair enough. Maybe even if he just spends another couple of years, goes at 32, does what N'Golo Kante does. He loves playing in Italy. Could he go to Juventus? I mean, you'll have to say with either Inter or Juve, I don't think this is going to work because you never see part exchange. You just don't see part exchanges in football. I think there's accounting reasons for that now that we're not necessarily privy to. But if you make a deal and say, look, we'll get to Juve, we'll give you Lukaku plus £30 million and you give us Vlahovic. I mean, maybe that's underwhelming. I'm not sure a lot of people want him at the moment. Of course, he was really, really highly rated. I think they spent 70 million on him. So maybe they want a bit more. Maybe they want 40 million in Lukaku. I don't know. If part exchanges can indeed be done, because you just don't see them. And then similarly, you could say something with Lautaro Martinez, but I think they'd like to keep Lautaro into, because they want to get the old Lukaku and Lautaro band back together. Of course, they had Dzeko starting a lot of the time, but he's now gone. He was 37, bro. But Lukaku's 30. So, you know, they can get that partnership firing again and try and win games. And he likes it there and trains hard and all that kind of stuff. It would suit everyone if he could go there. But Inter just need to pay the freaking money, dude. You've absolutely, undeniably fleeced us for this player. We got so shafted by buying this player. Even if you paid us £50 million, which is not the £38 million we're asking for, like, yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, just pay us. Anyway, I digress. I wonder if he'd be interested in going to Juve, because he, of course, it's a kind of rival. It's a rival, isn't it, to Inter Milan. I'd be very interested to see what he thinks, but we'll have to see, baby. Anyway, let me know what you think about the kit, the sponsor. Who do you think could sponsor us? Do you think it's good of our sponsor for the kit launch? Do you like the kit? What do you think is going to go with Lukaku? Who's going to be our strikers? I look forward to reading your comments. I thank you for your interactions. I'd urge you to follow me on the socials at Football Yannick on Threads and Insta. Keep it locked, friends. I upload all the time, so turn that sweet bell on. And I look forward to seeing you, mate, very soon.